Start.
Yes, Mataji.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Text 1. Vyas Uvacha Iti Samprashna Sanhrishto Vipranam Romharshani Pratipujya Vach Istesham Pravaktum Apachakrame.
Ugraseva, Suta Goswami, the son of Rama Harsana, being fully satisfied by the perfect questions of Brahmanas, thanked them and thus attempt to reply.
Text 2. Sut Uvacha Yam Pravajanata Manu Apetam Apet Krityam Dvipayano Viraha Juhava Putreti Tanmayataya Tarvo Habine Dusa Tvam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Muni Manato Asmi.
Srila Suta Goswami said, "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto that great sage, Sukadev Goswami, who can enter the hearts of all. When he went away to take up the renounced order of life, sannyasa, leaving home without undergoing reformation by the sacred thread or the ceremonies observed by the higher caste, his father Vyasadeva, fearing a separation from him, cried out, 'O my son, indeed, only the trees which were absorbed in the same feelings of separation echoed in response to the bereaved father.'"
Text 3. Yah swani swanubhav makhali shruti sarmekam adhyatma deepam tirshtam tamondhayam sansarinam karuna yah purana guham tam vyasunupayami gurum muninam.
Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto him, Sukha, the spiritual master of all sages, the son of Vyasadeva, who out of his great compassion for those gross materialists who struggle to cross over the darkest regions of material existence, spoke this with most confidential supplement to the cream of Vedic knowledge, after having personally assimilated by experience.
Text 4. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiv narottatam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jaymudirayet.
Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Nar Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Text 5. Munayaha sadhu prishtoyam bhav dvibhaloka mangalam yat kritaha krishma samprashno yenatma suprasidati.
O sages, I have been justly questioned by you. Your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna and so are of relevance to the world's welfare. Only questions of this sort are capable of completely satisfying the self.
Text 6. Sa vai punsa paro dharmo yato bhaktir tho adhaje ahetukya pratihata yayatma suprasidati.
The supreme occupation of dharma for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted to completely satisfy the self.
Text 7. Vasudeve bhagavati bhakti yogaha prayojataha janayatyashu vairagyam jnanam cha yad hetukam.
By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world.
Text 8. Dharma swanushthitah punsasam vishwavakesin kathasu yah notpad yedhi ratim shrama eva hi kevalam.
The occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead.
Text 9. Dharmasya haya apavargasya nathor tharyopakalapte narthasya dharme kantasya kamo labhaye hi samritaha.
All occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service should never use material gain to cultivate sense gratification.
Text 10. Kamasya nendriya prito labho jivet yavata जीवस्य त्वत्जिज्ञासा नार्थो यचेषः कर्मभिः.
Life's desire should never be directed towards sense gratification. One should desire only a healthy life or self-preservation, since a human being is meant for inquiry about the absolute truth. Nothing else should be the goal of one's works.
Text 11. Vodanti tvavida swatavam yajnanam dvayam brahmate paramatmeti bhagvaniti shabdate.
Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth hold this non-dual substance, Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagwan.
Text 12. Tat chanda dhana munyo jnana vairagya yuktaya pasyantyatmani chatmanam bhaktaya shrut grihitya.
The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti.
Text 13. Ataha kumbhi dvij shrestha varnashram vibhagashah swanutiष्ठि tasya dharmasya
Swanushthitasya.
संसिद्वे हर्षितोषणम्.
O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste divisions and orders of life is to please the personality of Godhead.
Text 14. तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्य कृति तच्छ्वेषचः.
Hey, devotees, can we please stay on mute? Thank you.
Can I restart?
Sunita
Text
Mataji, if you
14.
can mute yourself, thank you. Yes.
Text 14.
You have to just unmute
तस्मादेकेन
yourself. Mataji, you have to unmute yourself.
Text 14. तस्मादेकेन मनसा भगवान सात्वतां पतिः श्रोतव्यः कीर्तितोऽवश्य च ध्येयः पूज्यश नित्यदा.
Therefore, with one pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, Remember and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees.
Text 15. Yadnudhya sina yuktaha karma granthi nibandhanam chindanti kovidasas dasatyasya kona kurya katharatim.
With sword in hand, intelligent men cut through the binding knots of reactionary work, karma, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message?
Text 16. Shrushruho Shradhyanasya Vasudev Katha Ruchihi Syanamah Tasvaya Vipraha Punya Tirth Nishevanat.
O twice-born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva.
Text 17. Shinvatam Swakathaha Krishnaha Punne Shravan Kirtanaha Hridyantaha Stho Hyabdhrani Vidhunoti Suhrita Satam.
Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, supersoul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the hearts of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for the recitation. It was a good try. You both attempted very nicely. So, Swati Mataji, just a couple of points to note. What is helpful is when you're trying to learn to recitation, you can also refer to these verses on YouTube. You'll find the recitation there. So you can also follow it in preparation, in order to sometimes break the word.
Yeah, thank you for these things. Actually, I'm doing this first time, the Bhagavatam canto, so
Sure.
I'm a little bit nervous also.
That's
Thank
okay,
you
Mataji,
for.
no problem. That's all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Okay,
so much.
so today we will be doing Devotees text 7 from second chapter. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jnana Atiya Suvairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahitukam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causeless knowledge and detachment from the world. Purport. Those who consider devotional service to the Supreme Lord Krishna to be something like material, emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realizations are recommended. According to them, bhakti or devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities. Generally, it is said that the bhakti cult is meant for the Sudras, Vaishyas, and the less intelligent woman class. But that is not the actual fact. The bhakti cult is the topmost of all transcendental activities, and therefore it is simultaneously sublime and easy. It is sublime for the pure devotees who are serious about getting in contact with the Supreme Lord, and it is easy for the neophytes who are just on the threshold of the house of bhakti. To achieve the contact of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is a great science and is open for all living beings, including the Sudras, Vaishyas, women, and even those lower than the low-born Sudras. So what to speak of the high-class men like the qualified Brahmanas and the great self-realized kings? The other high-grade activities designated as sacrifice, charity, austerity, etc. are all corollary factors following the pure and scientific bhakti cult. The principles of knowledge and detachment are two important factors on the path of transcendental realization. The whole spiritual process leads to perfect knowledge of everything material and spiritual, and the results of such perfect knowledge are that one becomes detached from material affection and becomes attached to spiritual activities. Becoming detached from material things does not mean becoming inert altogether, as men with a poor fund of knowledge think. Nashkarma means not undertaking activities that will produce good or bad effects. Negation does not mean negation of positive. Negation of the non-essential does not mean negation of the essential. Similarly, detachment from the material forms does not mean nullifying the positive form. The bhakti cult is meant for realization of the positive form. When the positive form is realized, the negative forms are automatically eliminated. Therefore, with the development of the bhakti cult, with the application of positive service to the positive form, one naturally becomes detached from the inferior things and he becomes attached to superior things. Similarly, the bhakti cult, being the supermost occupation of the living being, leads him out of the material sense enjoyment. That is the sign of a pure devotee. He is not a fool, nor is he engaged in the inferior energies, nor does he have material values. This is not possible by dry reasoning. It actually happens by the grace of Almighty. In conclusion, one who is a pure devotee has all other good qualities, namely knowledge, detachment, etc. But one who has only knowledge or detachment is not necessarily well acquainted with the principles of the bhakti cult. Bhakti is the supermost occupation of the human being. So let's read the verse one more time. By rendering devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, one immediately acquires causes, knowledge, and detachment from the world. This is a very important verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, especially one, of course, for our own understanding, but also for sharing Krishna consciousness with others, because people may think that the path of jnana or the path of detachment, vairagya, for some people, they are the highest level of platform one can achieve. But here we learn from Srimad Bhagavatam that these two are actually byproducts of devotional service. So I'll recite the verse one more time. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Jnana Ati Asuvairagyam Jnanam Chayadhahitukam. Before we discuss today's verse, we will recite the Mangala Charan prayers so that we can seek the blessings of our previous acharyas and speak something or repeat the words of Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Tanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Varshava Bhanavi Devi Daite Kripa Prapabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhurya Ujjvala Premadaya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudhatma Dhattvantata Harine Namo Gaur Kishoraaya Sakshat Vairagyamurtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padam Bhujaye Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachitananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Verayate Gaura Virabhava Bhumistvam Nirdeshata Sajjuna Priya Vaishnava Sarvabhuma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधु दीन बंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते। पंचतत्वकं कृष्णं भक्त रूपा स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्त्याख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकम्। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So this is a very nice verse. As I said earlier today, here Prabhupada is talking about some very important fundamental aspects of Krishna consciousness. I'd like to repeat the purport, the first 2-3 lines. Those who consider devotional service to Supreme Lord Krishna, Sri Krishna, to be something like material emotional affairs may argue that in the revealed scriptures, sacrifice, charity, austerity, knowledge, mystic powers, and similar other processes of transcendental realizations are recommended. But according to them, bhakti or devotional service of the Lord is meant for those who cannot perform the high-grade activities. So first and foremost, what Prabhupada is trying to establish here, my dear friends, is that the devotional service is the highest of all the paths, of all the other important aspects in our life. So this is a lecture Srila Prabhupada gave on this beautiful, this is an excerpt from the lecture Prabhupada gave on this particular verse. So Prabhupada begins this lecture. Obviously, it's not the whole lecture, but some important points I wanted to share with all of you. So maybe we can have a volunteer who could read this for the benefit of everyone. Is there anyone who would like to read this?
Can I read it, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
So the mission of the human life is to acquire knowledge, gnanam, and vairagyam, detachment. Gnanam means real identification, what I am. In the conditional stage of life, we are passing on our days, not in a gnanam, but ignorance, just like the animals. The animals, they have no gnanam. They are pulling on their life with the bodily conscious of life. The dog is thinking, I'm dog, I'm this body. He does not know whether he is a dog or a cat. These names we have given him, but he knows it well that I am this body. So this is not gnanam.
Jnanam.
This
Jnanam.
gnanam?
No, it's pronounced Jnanam.
Gnanam. This chance is available when we are no longer cats and dogs, but human being. Then we can understand that I'm not this body. This is difference between cats and dogs and human beings. The cats and dogs, they do not know that they are not the body. They are spirit soul. That they do not know. They know simply that I'm this body, and the necessities of body must be fulfilled somehow or another. That is their business. Whole day and night they are working. They are working to fulfill the necessities of this body because there is no gnanam.
Jnanam. Thank you so much. So here Prabhupada is trying to bring to our attention the fact that the purpose of the human life is to actually attain knowledge and vairagyam, detachment. So at a fundamental level, that is the ultimate aim of life. And this is where Srila Prabhupada really brings this point, very, very important point. He also quotes the verse in this in Canto Srimad Bhagavatam. I think which canto is the where Rahuguna is speaking to not Rahuguna, Jat Bharat's father. Who was Jat Bharat's father? Was it Rahuguna? No, that was King Rahuguna. Who was Jat Bharat's father? Who was speaking to the 100 sons?
Rishabdev, Prabhuji.
Rishabhadev. Thank you so much, Father Prabhu. Thank you, Father Prabhu. So Rishabdev speaks to his 100 sons and he tells them that the life is meant for tapo divyam yena putrike na satvam. He's saying that when you have taken this birth of human form of life, please engage it in tapa, in austerity, and through tapa comes also vairagyam, and mostly vairagyam, and then your mind becomes peaceful to acquire knowledge. However, when one engages in devotional service, one from this verse we learn that one automatically learns jnanam and vairagyam. So Prabhupada is saying they are pulling on their life with the bodily concept of life. The dog is thinking, I'm dog, I'm this body. So who's Prabhupada referring to? Is he referring to dog and cats? Who is he referring to in this verse?
Us, human being.
Absolutely. So Prabhupada is trying to tell us, wake up, Divyanam. You are so much absorbed in sense gratification day and night. Please get up and try to consider this fact that you're not this body. Bhakti Vinod Thakur sings, Radha Krishna bol bol, bolo re Shobhai. He's saying that please sing the names of Shri Radha and Krishna. We've been sleeping, but now we have to come to our consciousness and to understand that we are not this body. Krishna is telling Arjuna that you're not the body, you're the soul, my dear friend. Do not lament, don't be attached, don't be on the bodily platform. So Prabhupada is saying he does not know whether he is dog or cat. Similarly, we do not know that we are not this body, but we are an eternal soul. Jivera Sarupoe Krishnera Nityadas. That is our eternal position. These names we have given him, but he knows it well that I'm this body. So this is not Jnanam. So see, this is a very important point. The real definition of Jnanam Prabhupada is giving is a platform when we come to understand that we are not this body. Till the time we are identifying ourselves with this body, with this family, with the community, with the society at large, unfortunately, we are nothing but on a very subtle level, still on a bodily platform actually. The more we think, okay, I'm trying to do something for my country, I'm dying for my country, that's nice, that's a Kshatriya spirit, and you may get a human form of body if you're lucky. But the point here is that you are still, unfortunately, leaving your body in ignorance. And someone who leaves the body in ignorance, he doesn't have an auspicious destination in his next life. So Prabhupada is saying this chance is available when we are no longer cats and dogs, but human beings. Then we can understand that I'm not this body. This is the difference between cats and dogs and human beings. The cats and dogs, they do not know what they are. They are not the body. They are spirit soul. They do not know this. They know simply that I'm this body and the necessities of the body must be fulfilled somehow or other. So you see, because we have acquired this body, and this body has come about through the perfect arrangement of the material nature, or the Maya energy of the Lord, who was empowered by the Lord to give us a certain kind of body so that we can live those proclivities which we were harboring in our heart in our previous life very, very strongly. So it is said, one devotee has said that every time you desire something material, that means another human form of body. Sorry, another material body, not necessarily human form. So one has to be very careful in what we desire in life, because those desires very soon starts to become our come become our thoughts, and those thoughts will then starts to become actions, and then action starts to transform into our destiny in terms of what we do. So this is a very important lesson. Prabhupada is saying that please come to the platform of, rise from the platform of ignorance to the platform of vidya, to the platform of knowledge. That's what jnana means. In the morning Guru Arti, Srila Prabhupada Arti we sing, right? What is that verse we sing? Chakhudan dilo se janme janme Prabhu se Divya Gyan Hirday Prakashito. That our spiritual master is from the light of the transcendental knowledge. Torch of the transcendental knowledge is enlightening us, and he's trying to wake us up by enlightening our consciousness, by bringing us to the light from darkness. So right now our state of consciousness is in darkness. And how does one know? Like Prabhupada gives this example that when you're hungry and when you're eating, you are yourself able to evidence that how much are you satisfied as each morsel or each spoon of the food you take in. To that degree you keep feeling satisfaction when you start eating the prasadam when you're very, very hungry. So similarly, when you're practicing Krishna consciousness, how Indira Mataji, if you can be on mute, that will be great. Thank you. So when you are eating, you feel you're satisfied and also you're getting nourished. So similarly, when you're performing devotional service, you will see that your mind is in a very much better state of place, and you're also getting a natural detachment from the world. And if you remember in the purport, Prabhupada, he does not, he says one path is to focus on negativity, but that's not Krishna consciousness. We like to focus on positive. One thing is to give up all the bad habits, but the other thing is to actually also think of the positive habits. That's why Prabhupada gave us 4 regulative principles, which are neti, which are no. But what did he do? Also chant the minimum 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So bringing that positive element is very, very important in our life. So now can I have one more volunteer who can read this paragraph?
Can I read, please, Prabhuji? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, Madhuri.
Thank you. But in the human form of life, that is not the business. Therefore, the Vedanta Sutra says, Athatu Brahma Jigyasa, this life, human form of life, which is achieved after evolution of 8,400,000 forms of life. It is called Labdva Sudurlabham Idam Bahu Sambhavante, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.9.29, Idam Shariram. This human form of body is achieved, Bahu Sambhavante, after achieving many, many other lower forms of life. Jalaja Nava Lakshani Sthavara Laksha Vimshati. So many different forms of life we have had to pass through to come to the standard of human life. Therefore, this life is not meant for spoiling like cats and dogs. This is jnanam. The spoiling the life like cats and dogs means ahara nidra bhaya maithuna, eating, sleeping, defending, and sexual intercourse. These are the bodily demands. Samanyam etat pashubir naranam. These are common formulas for the cats and dogs and the human being. But what is the meaning of human being? The human being is eligible to understand what is the value of life, what is the problem of life, how to make the solution. That is human life. Not that simply passing our days like cats and dogs working very hard. Hare Krishna.
So you see, in a very simple way, Prabhupada is putting his beautiful passage for us in his transcription of lecture to this particular verse, that please try to understand what knowledge is. Let us not stay in the avidya. We are all struggling where we are, but if we hold on to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, if we hold down to his teachings, and if we ever feel low, and if we ever feel diverted, the easiest thing is to pick up the phone and call a devotee and say that I'm not feeling good in last few days. My consciousness is not in the right place. Please help me. Please help me, lift me, read with me, chant with me. Give me the association, sadhu sangha, sarva sastra hoy. That just by like a momentary association of the devotee, our consciousness can change. Of course, it's very rare to find a pure devotee, but whoever you find sincere enough to open your heart to go and say that this is my issue and I'd like to associate with you. Please help me, Prabhu. And that kind of attitude is very much appreciated by Krishna. He notices such an humility, he notices such an honesty, he notices such an integrity, and he says, okay, this person is trying to reveal his heart. And Rupa Goswami confirms this in his book Nectar of Instruction, that there are 6 exchanges between the devotees, and one of those 6 exchanges is to reveal one's heart in confidence, and the others are taking prasadam, inviting others for prasadam, giving gifts to others and accepting gifts. So these are some of the loving exchanges given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teaching to Srila Rupa Goswami. These are very practical exchanges, and they actually have the real essence in Krishna consciousness. If in the material world also these things goes on, right? We take each other's association, we invite people for prasadam, we give gifts, beautiful gifts to the people, but the fundamental aspect of these activities is Krishna consciousness, which is missing in 99.9% cases. People come to each other's house, they glorify the Bollywood actors, they prepare a wonderful feast which is being cooked only with the sole idea to enjoy, and a sole idea in sometimes by killing other living entities, and then feasting on them thinking that this is going to bring us the highest pleasure. and then accompanied by intoxication where one does not know what he's saying, what he's doing. And after that, yeah, you're too tired to be able to do anything. As Prabhupada is saying, you engage in these 4 different activities like eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. And unfortunately, carrying that kinds of consciousness is not very helpful. But if you are in Krishna consciousness, if you have some devotee friends, go to their house, say, Prabhu, let's chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita together. It's been a while. Let's chant a chapter of Bhagavatam together. Let's read one purport of Prabhupada. Like my Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, he said in a lecture in Vrindavan he was giving that he puts a condition to the people. If there's somebody devotee or any one person who is fairly new to him, he wants to invite. He said, I'll come, but we will read a chapter of Bhagavad Gita together. That is the way to take association. That is the way to be in the association of devotees. Machita mat kata prana bodhayantas parasparam tushyanti cha ramanti cha. So the devotees, they enlighten each other. They derive great joy by talking about Krishna in the company of each other. That is the way of exchanging. That is the way of taking association with the devotees. That is the way of flourishing in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, unfortunately, there isn't a much difference between cats and dogs and between us. The only difference is we may be called a sophisticated two-legged animals actually, compared to the other animals like dogs and cats which are mentioned here. They may be doing the same things on the street and we are doing it on the course of dining table or in a beautiful house. There is not much difference, my dear friends. So this is a nice point Prabhupada is trying to share with us, and I certainly seek all of your blessings that every day I make some improvement. I'm no exception to what has been mentioned here by Prabhupada. If not, in most cases, I'm probably more fallen than any one of you. But the idea or the hope is that by in the association of the devotees and by reading these words of Srila Prabhupada, there will be some sense of purification one day that I'll be able to rise to the level of such an understanding where I can begin to experience what Krishna consciousness is like. Okay, can we have another devotee who could read this for us?
I can read, Prabhuji.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji.
The first thing, Jnanam and Vairagyam. This human form of life is meant for Jnana and Vairagya. Jnana means Vairagya, and Vairagya can not be achieved without Jnana. These two are relative terms. So Jnanam means that I am not this body, and my relationship with my body, they are also not my necessities. This is called Jnana. And as soon as we understand that the simply necessities of my body are not required, that is called detachment or Vairagya. Without Jnanam, we are simply thinking that we must satisfy the senses. Body means the senses. Indriyani parane. Ahur indriyabhya param manaha. Bhagavad Gita 3.42. So in the bodily concept of life or in ajnana, this ignorance, our business is to satisfy the senses. That is called ajnanam aham mameti. Srimad Bhagavatam 5.5.8, sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Prabhupada is saying, so as soon as we understand that simply necessities of my body are not required, that is called detachment. As soon as we come to the platform and we accept things which are favorable for our Krishna consciousness and we reject things which are not favorable for our Krishna consciousness, that is a platform of knowledge as well as detachment. So it doesn't come, I wish if it could come like that, but if Krishna's mercy, he is the most magnanimous of all, especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then anything is possible. However, we have to really try to prepare ourselves in such a way that we become the pathra of that mercy or become the instrument to receive that mercy. And the way to do it, we will hear in the subsequent verses of our Bhagavatam today. We read Shushuro Dasya, forgetting the word Shushuro dhanasya vasudeva katha ruchi sayan mahat sevaya vipra punya kirtana nishevana. That by rendering devotional service to those who are attached to Krishna, one actually awakens the taste or attraction to hear the message of Vasudeva. So, and that service and a great service is done when we serve those devotees who are attached to these messages of Krishna and the Bhagavatam. So it's a great matter of privilege to be able to be in such association and rise to this level which Prabhupada is talking about, especially saying that so in the bodily concept of life or in Ajnana, this ignorance, our business is to satisfy the senses. We just don't want to be on that platform. We want to rise above that platform. Okay, the last paragraph. This is the conclusion. There are many, it was a long lecture, but I've only picked up some key points. So who would like to read this for us in conclusion? Can we have any Prabhujis?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
There we go, Brother Prabhu. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Therefore, our request is that you take this Krishna consciousness movement very serious and try to apply yourself in the service of Vasudeva. The very simple thing, if you cannot do anything, you follow the instruction of Krishna. As Krishna says, Rasoham apsu kaunteya. You are drinking water. While drinking water, as soon as you taste the sweet taste, you simply remember this is Krishna. Is it very difficult task? Not at all. Simply you have to agree. Rasoham apsu kaunteya prabhasim shasi surayoho. Bhagavad Gita 7.8. And as soon as in the morning you see the sunshine, oh, here is Krishna. As soon as in the evening you see the moonshine, oh, here is Krishna. And what to speak of when the Vedic reciters, Brahmanas, are chanting, Om Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam. In the morning, oh, here is Krishna. Here is Omkara. In this way, you simply think of Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness, and your life will be successful. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So here's the formula Prabhupada is saying, try to see Krishna in every activities. If we haven't come to the platform where we are practicing the verse from the Bhagavad Gita, which says, in the, what is that verse where one sees with everyone with an equal vision, a dog eater, and outcast. He sees that there is a super soul in everyone's heart. What is that verse in Sanskrit? I'm forgetting. Maybe somebody can help me. A learned person sees everyone with an equal vision, be it a dog or a dog eater or an outcast or a brahmana actually, or a cow. He sees that there is a super soul. Sorry, Mataji, go ahead.
Krishna Prabhuji, is it Sunichena? Pakechayana,
Nicheva
something like that?
Sabakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Yes, how does that verse start? Anybody else, please help us here. That is the last two lines. Sunicheva Sapakecha Pandita Samadarshina, because that's the real Pandit who sees everyone with Samadarshi. He sees everyone with an equal vision. Please help us.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne,
Very
Brahmane
nice.
Gavihastini, Sunichaiva
Sunicheva
Swapakevacha,
Sapakecha
Mahata
Pandita
Sama Darshinaha.
Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunicheva Sapakecha Pandita Samadarshina. Beautiful verse. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's so nice when a devotee reminds you of a verse or when you're able to even see it in the book and it comes to your mind. These verses of Gita and Bhagavatam are the real nectar actually. Everything else in the world is useless. Any words which do not invoke our attraction towards Krishna cannot bring about auspiciousness in our life, and yet we have so much of attachment, yet we have so much of attraction towards this material energy. We think, wow, I wish I could enjoy this more. I wish I could carry on watching this more. And we leave aside something which is so sublime and pure, like Srila Prabhupada's words in his books, and like to find happiness and attraction in other things, which is really nothing but our attachment to this material world, unfortunately. And that is what is keeping us here. Otherwise, we will be in a very higher state of consciousness. Well, I'm speaking for myself, but all of you are practicing Krishna consciousness now so nicely. You all are my inspiration. Thank you so much. We should stop here. It's 8:30. Let's see if anyone has any comments or reflections on this particular course.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Indulekha Mataji.
Please accept my humble obeisances, O Guru Krishna Prabhupada.
Mine all glories.
Prabhuji, I have been hearing this often, that we should get detached and we should not have any desire, right?
Sorry, we should do. Sorry, Mataji, could you repeat again?
We should not have any desire, like material desire, right? So I have a desire, but I don't know on what platform it is. But my desire is to quit this mortal body in a spiritual place in India.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
So is that kind of attachment?
I think one thing is to have a desire, but if it can be a spiritual desire, there's nothing wrong with it. And the more specific you make it, the better it is. Like, if rather than having a desire that I like to quit my body in India, I know you refer to a spiritual place, just be specific about your goal. Like anything in our life, right? We sometimes, when we are asked in the interview from when we go, I want to be where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, and you say I like to become a general manager, CEO of the company, whatever that may be. So similarly, let's be very smart. Smart means specific. S stands for specific, N stands for measurable, E stands for smart, A stands for accurate, R stands for what was the R stands for? T is time bound, which is and then R is realistic. That's right. Thank you. Somebody's out there in the corporate world making a difference. So if you say that, okay, Prabhu, I pray to Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Shri Shri Gaunitai, Shri Prabhupada, if you so desire, please allow me to leave my body in Sri Vrindavan Dham, in Sri Navadip Mayapur Dham, in Sri Jagannath Puri Dham. So if you pray it that way, there is nothing wrong in that, because that actually should be our prayer, And however, the other side of it is that what's more important is to have the Dham consciousness in our mind. Then we are not really worried about where we leave the body. If we have the Vrindavan consciousness, then whether we live in London or whether we leave our body in Vrindavan, of course, Vrindavan is glorious if we are able to, but we leave that to Krishna. What we try to do is we try to make, as Mahaprabhu said, Amara Man Vrindavan. We have to make our mind Vrindavan. And once we achieve that state, and that's why going to such places like Dham, going to retreats, going deeper in our Krishna consciousness, these retreats and these Dham yatras are so potent that I can't tell you. I owe a huge to the yatras of my Guru Maharaj, because only because of those yatras I got an opportunity to serve him, serve other devotees, serve Dham, and develop some little attraction towards service of Srila Prabhupada and Dham actually. So if you ever get an opportunity to go anywhere where Sadhu Sangha is going on, because what happens is in Dham or in Yatra or in retreat, there is a specific purpose. There are no other hindrances. You're there to hear and chant. Like next week, we are going to France, to New Mayapur, and we will be completely absorbed in some really nice topics. Most likely one of them is going to be around Panchanga Bhakti, the 5 potent ways of devotional service. So things like this, that will give us an important meditation to go really deeper in these aspects of Krishna consciousness. And these things really lift us, And for that, even if we have to go through some little discomfort or little austerity, it's all worth it at the end of the day. Because austerity is also needed for us to progress in Krishna consciousness. So coming back to your point, Mataji, we should definitely harbor or pray for spiritual desire. And believe it or not, most of the time spiritual desires do get fulfilled. Material desires, you see, what happens is, this is my experience, I wouldn't use the word realization. When you pray for material desire, you're looking at from your point of view. Yeah, you think if you had this, your life will be in a much better place. If I get this job, my son gets the admission here, if I can do this, if I can, everything is about I. It's centered about I. But the moment you have a spiritual desire that please, like I had a desire, I prayed to Radha Gokulananda, there was no appointment available for my wife to get a France visa. And it was for almost after a month. Now was the first appointment, not even now, 30th of March, and we were supposed to leave on 1st of April. And this was 3 weeks ago. And then she couldn't go, and she's the one who's coordinating a lot of the services and helping. And I said, and she didn't sound worried, and I was really worried. I said, what if she can't go because she has Indian passport? So I just went to Radha Gokulananda and I prayed, listen, dear Shishi Radha Gokulananda's, lordships, that this is our situation. I if you so desire, because she has a desire to serve her spiritual master here from the devotees, take the association of the devotees and to be of service to the Vaishnavas. So if you so desire, then please, do something. That's all I did say, do something. But it was, I have to say, pretty much a 100% spiritual driven desire. And just within half an hour when I came home, I logged in. No appointment was coming available. I was checking every 2 hours every day because that was me I was trying to do. But now I prayed, I came in half an hour, only one spot came available, and that was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago we applied, and 3 days ago, like after 3 days, we got the visa. Otherwise, it takes 2 to 3 weeks. So this is just a small example that, in my opinion, if you cultivate spiritual desire, they will get fulfilled because they are coming from the spiritual stratum. They are also the desire of the Krishna. You see, that's why it gets fulfilled. Our desire may or may not get fulfilled because it's coming at a material plane. But if you desire something spiritual, which is automatically and naturally the desire of Krishna, then it will get fulfilled. So I hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji, I had a similar experience. I really wanted to go to Sri Rangam, but I didn't know with whom to go and how to go, because I am in Canada, in far, like in Victoria Island, which is very, very far from India or from even UK. So I don't know. It so happened, and I went all around South India and Sri Rangam and Rameshwaram, and it's just because I wanted to go to see the Lordship there.
Nice.
And I prayed for it.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
That's why I've also taken up this kind of a venture and service of organizing retreats. This year we go to Vrindavan. Next year I'm hoping, if Krishna willing, we could go to Jagannath Puri in Mayapur. Let's see. We are doing a youth retreat for 12 plus to 25 at the end of December, last week of December and first week of January. This is my Guru Maharaj's desire that he wants to bring all the youth. So we're doing a global youth retreat to bring all the youth together and give them an experience in the Dham and go deeper. And after that, maybe if Krishna willing, if all goes well, I'm hoping that we could also I'm hoping to organize a trip to Jagannath Puri and Mayapur next year. Let's see.
Do you know about which time it will be to go to Jagannath Puri?
Mataji, I do not know, but let's see, maybe sometime in February, March, but I cannot say for certain right now how things shape up, but I would know in the next 2-3 months for sure. And you all will be the first one to know, because I don't want to make it a huge group, but so I will definitely share with you all.
Yes, Prabhuji, I will arrange to be in UK at that time, then if I can, if Krishna is willing.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Any other comments or questions, devotees?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Very relevant topic Prabhupada talked about. We are not cats and dogs. We are human beings meant for a higher purpose. Unfortunately, we've all been brought up in the Western style of education. It doesn't emphasize that we are not the bodies. It teaches that relevant fact. And this is what Prabhupada was really trying to promote. So the efforts of the Sankirtan team to promote distribution of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and all the other literature that Prabhupada has so tirelessly given us is so relevant.
Yes, Prabhu. That is so nice, Prabhu. And that reminds me, thank you. Actually, I had completely forgotten, because you brought that up in the Sankirtan moment. I want to remind our participants that please try to join us for these monthly Sankirtan festivals. We have these sessions once every month, and you are not alone when you're going out on book distribution. It's a very fun activity, and you will be with a team of devotees. You can go with some Mataji who has been, you can go with some Prabhu, you can come with me if you like, and I go with my family and children. So tomorrow we are going to Welling Garden City. It's a very nice, beautiful town. A lot of people are inquisitive. They're looking for Krishna consciousness. So please spare out 2 hours or 1 hour of your time. Come and join us. There will be prasadam at 4 o'clock at a wonderful devotee's house there. And we are going to be there from 1:30, 2 o'clock onwards till 4 o'clock. If there is also a Harinam by Sacred Street Party on the town center, and then there is also going to be a book distribution on door to door, where some of us will go door to door with children. So please, I humbly beg you, request you to come out and experience this magic of Sankirtan. So tomorrow we will be there. If any one of you are feeling inspired, then message me right now so I can count you all in for prasadam and let the host know. We sit together and eat prasadam together, and then we share our experience of how was it to go out for book distribution. Such a nice experience. It's really, really nice, actually. You'll see that this is one of the very, I would say, the best way to make a consistent progress in Krishna consciousness. When you come out, you get an opportunity to try whatever you're experiencing, and it's really nice activity to share Krishna consciousness with others. We have a couple more minutes before we end. If anybody has any other comments, let's see, there's something in the chat box. I have Sumadhura Radhika Mataji saying, thank you very much for a practical and amazing class. So Sumadhura Radhika Mataji, where are you dialing in from?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I'm calling from Manchester Temple, so I live near there in Bolton.
Oh, wonderful. Oh, so nice to have you on our session, and thank you for the encouraging words. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much. It was a very nice class, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I would like to share an experience.
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhuji.
So it's both sides actually. So one of the things I observed is whenever you have got any non-vegetarian food, then you end up becoming a lion in your next life. So it seems like I very much agree with that purport which says Vairagyam basically makes you understand that all your desires are actually what keeps you or takes you where you want to go. So all your material desires will also be fulfilled, be it BMW or anything, but it only means that you will need more lifetimes if it doesn't get fulfilled in this lifetime.
Yeah, and there is a chance of getting carried away with the BMW, going so far that you may even forget that, that there is a real kind of an opportunity missed while we are trying to develop our attraction towards BMW. The other thing is, Prabhu, yes, the material desires for sure gets fulfilled, but not in the way we want necessarily. So, and sometimes in the way we want. It just depends on our previous activities we have performed and how intensely we desire. And this is the beauty, that the way, especially if we pray to Krishna, it is said in the Bhagavatam in the first canto, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udarite tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. That whether you have a desire for something material, or do you have a desire for something spiritual, or you have a desire even for mukti, whatever your desire, akama sarva kamova, whatever your desire may be, just by all means try to worship the the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By doing so, what will happen is whatever you desire materially, Krishna will give you in such a way that you will not ask for it again, right? And there are many examples of such instances. Like, one could you talked about prasadam, food in one way, and one may not keep the prasadam. I mean, you may eat, okay, I want to feel like eating paneer, and next 4 nights, wherever you're going, whatever you're doing is just paneer. And the 5th day, you're like, oh my God, I can't take any more paneer. Well, it depends, sometimes people can have paneer as much as they want, but just as one example. But the other example is that, one may desire so many things in the life. So, for example, I've been reading the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam lately, and in there is a pastime of Govardhan Hill. In that, we notice that Nanda Maharaj desired to please Indradev, and wanted to do it in a certain way, and Krishna said, no, that's not the way. You let's worship the Govardhan hill. You do this, you do that, you do. And the way Krishna then arranged the whole festival and lifting of the Govardhan hill, that he captivated the minds and heart of the Brajavasis in such a beautiful way that after that they never desired to worship Indra. But equally, they never lost respect for Indra, but they understood Indra's position after that pastime actually. So that's what Krishna does. He does, like, we may be thinking, why am I not getting a job? I'm going interview after interview. Maybe Krishna has another plan for us. So one thing which I try to do, I'm not going to shy away that I don't have material desires. They keep cropping in up my mind that I want to achieve, I want to do so many things. But even if you ask, that's fine, but ask to Krishna, even if you have material desires. But what I ask normally is that, my Lord, this is my situation, this is my material desire. But if you so desire, only if you so desire, and if you think this is right for my Krishna consciousness, then let it be so. That is the right way of doing, because then you're telling Krishna to do the right thing, what is best for my Krishna consciousness. And then ultimately, what I also say, that it seems my desire is so strong, my Lord, and it is very possible that it may not get fulfilled. But whatever your plan is, please give me the strength to accept that plan in totality, so I completely accept it and still stay strong in my Krishna consciousness. That's how I normally pray to Prabhupada and to my Guru Maharaj and to the Guru Parampara and the deities, that give me the power, give me the strength to accept your benevolent plan, but your plan is a perfect plan. I may not see it when it comes, I may not seeing it right now, but please give me that intelligence that I can rise and see everything auspicious about it. Because whatever Krishna does is auspicious, even if it is something not so-called right for us, but for that there is also a higher purpose behind that. So yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Pritesh Prabhu. Okay, dear, thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna. So it's now just over 8:45. I think we should conclude today's session. So please, it'll be nice. It's my humble request. Please step out. Even if you come out for an hour, you will not miss anything. You'll gain. The weather is beautiful. If not anything, you'll make other people's life auspicious by handing them out books, or even just trying to hand out some books actually. Or even if you don't want to hand out the books, just come with us and stand with us and just experience the magic of book distribution on door to door or on the street, whichever you prefer. So you have my number. Please reach out to me. I'll share the flyer. The details and the timings are there already mentioned in the flyer, and I'll put it onto the group. Just text me back saying, yes, Prabhu, I would like to add, and I'd like to attend the Sangha at 4 o'clock in the Welling Garden City and join you all for Prasadam. That would be the biggest source of my happiness if you all can come. So on that note, I want to thank all of you this evening and hoping to see you all very soon. Until then, look after yourself. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhe vacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishna, Hare
Thank you.
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.